Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Tuesday. So we have a couple red folders, 12:30 a.m. That was behind us right now. That was the Aussie has some red folder news coming up ahead of us at 10 o'clock. We have some U.S. news, ISM services. Not sure what that means, but it says red folder. So we may have to take a look at that around the 10 o'clock area. Maybe see some. If it's going to have a big impact, it may not have a lot of movement on some of these U.S. pairs then in the meantime. And let's go and we'll pull up our heat map. We call it our Hercules. That's what we gave it a name. Correlator. And we'll see what's hot and what's not as this thing propagates up. As we see, no, I just took a sip of coffee actually. As we see, we have 4 segments. The upper left is the 1 hour chart. The bottom left is the 30-minute. Bottom right is 15-minute, and the top right is a 5-minute. So we have the same 8 currency pairs all on 4 different time frames. And you can see that right now the New Zealand and the yen seem to be the strongest pairs on the 5, the 15, and the 30. And the euro and CAD and the US dollar seems to be relatively weak. So we'll be looking at trading the New Zealand yen probably against the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. So we'll go and take a look and see what we have with that. Let's see, I'll keep this one here so I can put it on and put my. So we're going to, the euro yen, the euro is weak though. So right now we're looking at the yen being strong. Actually, I need to go and put that on another chart here. Give me just a second here so I can look at this without switching back and forth all the time. Well, I keep this correlation chart up so I can just be looking at it without having to switch back and forth with the screens.
Good picture on the Euro Kiwi.
Euro Kiwi, that was one. The Kiwi was this was a strong one.
Kiwi was strong. Euro was a weak.
Euro Kiwi, Euro Kiwi. Let's go and pull that one up. Get our template up here. Somewhere. And so we're on a 15-minute chart with the Euro Kiwi, and right now we have a red zone above. On a 15-minute chart, I'm not seeing any green below. So we just go to a higher time frame so we can see if we can find a bottom to any of this. And right now I'm not seeing anything. I'm on a 4-hour chart. Still no green. That means there's a lot of room to the downside. And we are coming up into a daily green zone right now, which is, we'll go and we'll make a note of this just to see where this pivot low is right here. This is where we're looking at. I'm just going to make a little, I'm going to on my, let's see what kind of range we have here. That's a 500 and, let's see here, okay, that's a 52 pip range, I believe, 71.34. Actually, it's more than that. That's
Yeah, you got a lot of
525 pips. That's 525 pips to this, but we're coming right down into that area.
1660 or 6660 is where I'm seeing your first real
6660,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically this little bump right here. I'll tell you what, let's go and we're going to mark that, and I'm going to bring it down to a lower time frame so we can see what we have. So we know there's a little bit of a zone right in this area, right in here. 6660, which is a little bit lower below this. Actually, no, right about in. Just about had it right on the money right there as it was, 6660. So here's where we have a little bit of a target. That's really where pretty much our first target's going to be. So we do have some room to the downside. How much room do we have to that? About 36 pips, so that's good. Let's go to our lower time frame and see if we can find anything here. I'd like to see if we can find a range that we can bring it into our fib range. That's a very shallow descent into this. So it's been just trending very slightly, but it has been going to the downside. And so I'll be looking at, let's see what the range is from this upper red zone to this zone. That is, looks like 19 pips, it looks like. 68.94 to 67.06.
$19.
$19.
So it's like 200 pips.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, it's like 100, almost 200 pips.
My only concern is it starting to exhaust itself?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of right in that zone here. I don't, the fact that this thing wasn't, we had one nice strong move down like this, but other than that, it's been really kind of over. I mean, this is the overnight session right now. So from this area right here to where it is right now, we have 127 pips. So it did move quite a bit over the night, over nighttime.
And your momentum, that's what I was looking at. Where it's at on my, your momentum is all there, as long as that picture doesn't change.
Let's see if we can get into something with this. Let me scroll up to the 1 hour chart or 1 minute chart and see what we have. We did get a bounce right off of that little zone right there. And so right now, this is the range we're looking at in here. That's 17 pips.
It's crazy to think this doesn't have anything on the 5 minute chart as far as resistance.
Yeah, I just don't know what to do with this one. I don't like the fact it's going so gradual and it had such a big move already. I'm
already in it, so it doesn't matter.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in it yet, and so therefore it does matter. And I think I'm move on for some. I'm going to move on for something that has a little different picture. Well, you were probably up though before I did to start looking at some of this stuff.
I'm just strictly going on. I'm just excuse me. I'm just going strictly on the Hercules. That's all I'm doing.
Let's take a look at the yen and the CAD. Let's see if I have that in here.
Show your power screen again.
Oh yeah.
We'll see where we are. Curiosity kills the cat. Hercules, yeah.
Hercules.
Mm-hmm.
The yen is
Kiwi,
strong.
Yen is strong across the board.
I think I'm going to go
CAD yen.
CAD yen, yeah. I like the CAD. Let's see what that one looks like.
Wow. Okay.
CAD yen, 15 minute. Bring up our chart. We are working on getting you some new different zone identifiers, supply and demand zone identifiers. I did find one of my old softwares that I didn't use for a while. Oops, I know what I did. I got the wrong one here. Trying to find some.
And as always, I'm in. Doesn't take me long.
It doesn't take you long.
It doesn't take me long. It either looks right or it doesn't.
Well, we have two zones here. Right now, it's right in the bottom of this zone. Let's see where if it goes through this green zone, let's see where it is. Right now, we have a down arrow. We had a bounce arrow. We have a go. Let's see what it looks like on we have a nice little zone right down here. But I like this one a lot better than the other one. I like the movement of this. So right now, I'm going to be drawing. Let's see where I'm going to draw my fibs here. And we're just going to go from the red zone to the green zone and see where the overshoot area is down below. You see it's been bouncing off of this green zone for the last several days. It hasn't penetrated this this green area. So if it can break through it, the next stop down the line is going to be this area right in here. We do have a little pivot on, right? I'm going to probably look at this pivot, see what the range is on this.
8947 is also a fib number, green.
Okay. I'm going to just draw the fibs from here up to here. Use that range. Right now we're in the lower 25. If it breaks through the bottom, which is where this green zone is, we will probably have lots of room to the downside. Here's our lower 25%. I feel like I'm just coming back from a holiday weekend.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes it's hard to get started and get moving again. Here's our little green zone. Here's our lower 25. We'll see if it can penetrate through. If it does, it's got a lot of room to the downside. It does have, no, there is a lot of strength on the CAD to the yen and on 3 different time frames and all 4 time frames. Actually, excuse me, the CAD is weak. So the CAD is weak. This is a CAD yen. So therefore, if the CAD is weak, the yen is strong. They're looking for strength to the downside of this. Come to my 1 minute chart and see what we can have and see if we get anything to take a trade on. We'll find out that we're actually finding more trades using our Hercules tool. A lot of the arrow tools that doing the scalping like we're doing, a lot of times we just don't really get the range to be able to take the trade, whereas we're finding out that we can do just as well, finding out the different zones and ranges with our Hercules. And
New supply zone.
And we're going to be doing more and more of that. Say that, Brian?
A new supply zone was just created at the 89.55 above price. Just created. You have a drop base drop on a 5-minute chart. That was nice and simple. That's probably where I'd consider getting in if I wasn't already in it. You'll see it, the drop base drop.
Is it drop base drop coming
a little higher? No, a little higher. Your third candle back. Third candle back. No. Third candle back. Boom, right there. Yep, that's a supply zone based on a strong move away.
Expand this.
But you're on a 1 minute chart. That's why it didn't look the same.
I didn't see the zone on the 5 minute. We have this little red zone here on the 1 minute. If I go to 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minute just created.
It's just way up here though.
Right at your yellow line though. Well, yeah, you're using alert or you're using arrow.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to use right at the moment.
But if you look at the third candle, that little basing there, and you look to the left, that little pivot off of that at the top, at the bottom.
Yeah.
Third candle, third candle. There you go. That pivot, that line right there, going across, straight across.
Yeah.
All it is at the 89.50.
We are at the extreme right now. I would have to wait for my rules say I've got to wait for this thing to come back up and give me a little bit of a bounce off of that, and then maybe a retest.
On a 5 minute, you're coming to a 89.47 fib. So you should get a bounce.
And I think what I'll do is I may switch over to Trading View here to, that way I think I can probably see what you're talking about a little bit better. But right now we had a nice little drop. Here's a little bit of a pullback. Here's another drop. Now we're pretty much waiting for this thing to pull back. It's either going to keep on going down into this blue zone, which is our lower 25% of that bigger move, or it's going to just go sideways into this area. So now the question is, do we have enough room to the downside? If this zone were in here, we'd have lots of room to the downside because there's nothing down below. So the fact that the CAD is the weakest of the two pairs by a significant amount on several time frames, we're basically just I'm waiting for a little bit of a pop in the direction to be able to enter into trade. So basically, again, we're looking at the 25 to 50 zone here.
Where's your 50 showing up at?
Here's
your price?
25, here's a 25 to 50% of this down move. We're coming right up in here. It is starting. We are getting a little bit of a hook on the green. Everything is still holding solid, so we're going to wait and see if this thing come up, and then we can maybe take this trade and see if we have what kind of range we have down here. That's 5 pips. I'd like to see it pull back a little bit more, because right now the fact we're in this bottom zone has had the move from the overnight several times. We had drop, little retrace, drop, base, drop. Now it's coming back. It could come back up and retest this little area right up in here. We don't know how far down it can go. It could go down to quite a ways, or this could be the turnaround point. So the question will be is that if this is the bottom, we're seeing that there are some buyers coming in at the bottom here. We're already in the lower zone. We're coming up into our pullback area, which is that 25 to 50% area. Now the question is if this thing come up and turn around, can we get our 5 pips out of this trade? I think there's a lot. If this thing pulls back and the strength still stays the same with the yen being strong and the CAD still being weak on all time frames, which so right now it is, we can try and take that trade and see if we can go for a little bit of a run on this one. Right now it's into my 25% range. I'd like to see how this 1 minute candle closes out. If we get a little bit of a pivot, and then we can maybe do like a buy stop or a sell stop down here as it's popping up in here. Let's see, 89.50.
And I got a secondary order at 89.55.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's probably a little bit better just trying to get another order in right up in this area. That way we have this little zone. Worse, you could put your stop up here, which would still be a very tight stop. And so with this, we're in the, if close to the 23 is bouncing off the 38. I'll take a sell on this. And again, then the target's going to be sell CAD, modify it, and I just go for my 15 pips. It's going to be 150 here, and it's going to be 70 here. Hit the blue, hit the red, modify the order. I'm in. I'm waiting for my target. My stop is way up here. Yeah. I'm not going to come any closer using that full stop. If it starts breaking through these moving averages, I'll be out of that thing. But right now, I'm in a good position. Just if it comes back down to where this whole little bounce started. If it just goes down a little bit, I'll be profitable in the trade, and I can be able to get out of the trade. And we do have the spread. We do have a spread of about 1.5 pips spread on this, and we'll see what happens.
I'm going to do that. Look at the picture.
And with that, we'll take a look and then check the German 30 out and see what that's doing while we're waiting on this. German 30, 15-minute chart. That's been one of our more profitable indexes to trade. And right now we have, here's our pivot high, here's a pivot low. This is the overnight range. This is a pivot low from yesterday, which was a little bit lower than the low we had here. So I'm going to use this low, this high, and use the prices we have in between. Draw my zone, draw my Fibonacci. This is my higher time frame. Going to mark my, let's see, we're going to mark the 38. Mark the 50. And mark the 61. Here's my upper 25. Here's the day break. I'm just going to move it over here like this to the upper 25% of the range. Here's my lower 25 for the day. Now I can remove these Fibonacci's. Now we do have this is the overshoot area, the minus 25 extension if it goes up higher. Right now there's no trade in here because right now it's in the middle with no real clear direction on this 15-minute chart. But I'm going to go ahead and take these fibs off and start looking for the ranging to be able to get into the trade and use it for our reference. And so I'm going to go to my lower time frame, go to my 5-minute. Again, you can see it's just going real. It's in a very tight range right now for the last several hours. Well, it's about $25 range. That's not too bad. It is enough room to. But right now we have a red zone. We have a green zone down below. No real clear direction that I can see. The euro is weak. The euro being weak, the indexes tend to be a little bit strong and vice versa. Let's go to a 1-minute chart and see what we have with this. I don't think there's anything here for right now. We may have to wait a little bit. We did get let's see, do we have a 5-minute close above? We do have a 5-minute close above. As it comes off the bottom, came up, pulled back, came up, closed above the middle orange line, pulled back, and now we're seeing if it's going to come up and retest this moving average. All of our moving averages are in the right direction to go along. We have the green over the yellow, yellow over the blue. And so let's go to the 1-minute chart again and see if we can find a pullback to see if this thing's going to continue on going. This would be the target. This would be the next target zone right up in here, this area. This is a fairly strong, here's our little wedge down here at the bottom. How's our trade doing? A little bit underwater right now. There's a pivot. Here's a pivot. Here's the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a third hit, and we have a straight top on the top. A little bit of a lower high up here. So it's going to have to break through this area. This 15,619 area. It's going to need to break through that in order to get up out of this area. Right now it's making a lower high, higher low. It's got a little bit of a wedge building right in here. It's going to have to break through the top of this. I need to get it close above this body of the candle, which came up to the wick of that. So there's no trade here just yet. You see a little bit more of a pullback. And so right now it's trading inside the range of between here and here. Let's see what we have for fib range on this. Here's our low. Here's our last pivot low. Here's our last pivot high. Looking for a pullback into the 50 to 61 area. We're getting that right now. We had to close above the 15. We had to pull back, couldn't retest the trend line. All of our moving averages are in the correct direction, although the green is now starting to challenge the yellow. See how deep it's going to go. And see if we get the crossover. If we get the crossover, we may want to be thinking about go a little bit deeper. But right now, this 23 to 50 zone is right in here. Right now, it's hitting on the 61% retracement of this upward move. We'll see if it comes down into this lower 25 of this, which is right where the trend line is. It's right where the 200 moving average is. We do have the cross right now, so we want to hold off on getting in. I like this little bounce. This is a nice little doji right here off of 61% retracement off of this move. If it comes down and retests this trend line, we can maybe take a shot at it down here with a nice stop. Now we do have a green zone right down below, so we're going to have to be careful that if it starts breaking through, if it breaks through the bottom of this 20% range, which is right in here, then all bets may be off on this one. Right now, this just looks like a nice little steep pullback. This is the half of that zone right there. This could give us this would be a nice little area to maybe take the trade with a very tight stop. We take it here we only have we have about a $2 stop. We're looking at $10 stop, $5 target on this. What I don't like is I don't like the fact that the 5 and the 13 have crossed each other right now. It's also crossed the arrow moving average, which is the blue one. And we have about $4 to the consolidation of the moving averages up here. This is a pretty strong pullback right now. And I'm going to go for a buy stop on this one as it comes back up to maybe hit this. So I think it's still going to be bouncing off of this. I don't want to get in because I don't want to try and pick the bottom on this. But if it comes back up and retests this area right up in here, we can take a buy stop, and as it pulls back up, it gets us in on the momentum coming up. Euro is still weak, therefore I still think this thing but has room to the upside. And if it gets me in, my target will be right up in here, this orange line. I believe where's my trade? Did it get me in? I don't
tell.
see that. No, it didn't take it. Unless I don't think it's. Oh, I know what happened. Oh, crud! It didn't. It got me in and out all right at the same time.
That was a fast trade, Al.
That was yeah.
There you go.
But we'll
brag on that one today.
The plan was right. I just didn't execute it very properly. I have my entry right here, looking for this to be the target. And as it comes on up, we'll see if it can come up, and you should be profitable. If you did do what I didn't do, then you should be profitable right now. And our CAD trade is working out. We're positive on that one. I don't know why that didn't take that. Why?
Euro trade's turning around too for me.
We are coming in. Right now we are profitable on the CAD yen, and that's about ready to, let's see, 40, our take profits at 89.46.
I'm not going to tell you this, Al, but I did the same thing on the Euro Kiwi. I ended up placing a buy order when I meant to put a sell order, so I have a loss today.
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out why that thing. Because I didn't put any take profit or stops in there, and just that one just got me in and out at the same time. I'll have to double check and see what happened there.
I've got to the point where things are going to happen.
Yeah. Right now, our CAD yen trade is working out. Let's see where I can find that over here. Here's our CAD yen. We're coming down. We did get in, coming down. It's hitting the bottom. It's right now. It's retesting. It has a little green zone right here. Now my target is at the bottom of this green zone, so it's got to penetrate through that green zone. So this little pivot here where we had that pullback, we got in up in this area. This was the spread. And now we're going to see if it's going to come back down and take out this little pivot low. If it takes it out, it still has further to go, but we are losing a little bit of steam in this. This thing wasn't a real strong move over the night. It had a nice little drop, base for a long time, dropped again, and now it's starting to trend a little bit, but we'll see if it's going to come out here and get us profitable in this.
What's your Hercules tool saying?
Hercules on this one is it was the CAD yen, so CAD's still strong.
Still good.
It is losing a little bit of strength.
CAD's
there.
Still weak.
CAD's still weak, but the yen has lost a little bit of strength on that little pullback there.
Now it's just a little bit of patience time.
Now it's just a little bit of patience. And let's see. Let's go back over and see. Close that one out. I'm going to get rid of some of these here so I can see what I'm doing. You don't need to have charts up that you're not looking at. Here's our German 30. How's that one doing? That was working nicely. It did looks like it did come up, get our target. We got in. It's a 5 minute. This is the one we're looking at. We did hit the target. So I tried to get in right in here off this large candle, came right on up, never looked back. Base came up. You should be out of this trade by now, or you can keep it going up until see if it hits these pivots. That would have been a winning trade. CAD yen is still working. Still trying to break its way through this bottom here.
Euro Kiwi worked out so far really well. I jumped a little early. They got a secondary entry at the same time, and now both of them are working out, along with a miss entry.
Yeah, I had a miss entry too. Now, as with this CAD yen, the yen is still strong. The CAD is still weak. So I have no expectation that this green zone is going to hold. Now the question is if you want to wait or not. We may get another bounce. If we do, our target is right down here at the bottom of the zone. If it breaks through the bottom, we could keep on going even lower. The question is how much do you want to go for? And because we did get some bounce off at this area, we'll see if it comes through. And remember, it's got to get through. This red line has to come all the way back through to the bottom to my target in order to get filled. So the spread, it has to go through the spread in order before you actually get filled. So if you just look, so again, it's what you want to, how you want to play this.
And on the CAD yen, that's the third time it's tried to go through the 89.47. The 89.47 is a green fib number. So okay. Just be aware it could bounce again. But everything else looks great.
Right now the moving averages are real strong looking coming down. But we do have to get through this, and we have to get through with the spread. And the spread right now is, if I measure between the white and red line right here, that's the 1.6 spread. And the spread may start getting a little bit wider as it gets closer to the bottom here. So keep in mind, if you watch these spreads, a lot of times you'll see that they'll start playing with the spreads a little bit when it gets to a little pivot area.
They do that on your stops too.
They do it on the stops too. So, but it does have his little doji right here. I'm not going to allow the winning trade turn into a losing trade. My stop is way up here right now. I'm going to at least take it to a break even and see if it comes and gets me filled. If it fills, then we could still keep on going down. We may actually get a few more pips out of it. Here's the overshoot area right in this area. There's a nice little strong pullback. Here's the overshoot. It came up to the 50%, so we're looking at a possible target zone of this area right in here. Oops, wrong one. Didn't want that one. There it goes. Just took me out of the trade with the spread took me out of this trade. So you can see how it was stroking here. Now I could maybe try and get back in again. This is what happens when you don't take your profits. When the spread, when you get down to that target area, no damage was done, but you also now you have to go back through the whole process all over again.
It's funny how it just bounces right off that 89.47. That's the third one. I'm still in it. I didn't change anything. It's bouncing where I expect it to bounce. You just don't want to bounce you right out of a trade. I'm looking at my 5-minute chart or 15-minute chart out. It's funny. The supply and demand tool is dead on the 50.76. So the whole zone covers the 59.70 or the 50 and 76 area. It's crazy.
Let me take a look at this. Let me pull the cat up on my trading view and see what you've got there.
It's just on 15. Yeah, 15-minute chart. You got looks like 2 candles in the base. Strong move away, and it's the 50 and the 76. That's a nice zone.
I think so. You can see where it came back up. Now it's still testing this area right now. If it breaks through here, all the moving averages are still in the right direction. We just have the pullback. This is one reason why I oftentimes don't move my stops, is because the odds of it coming back and retesting that area where you got in and have the spread take you out is pretty high. I don't think I lost anything on that, but it wasn't profitable like it should have been. Yeah, I made 90 cents on it.
Finally breaking down below it. I just can't trade on that 1-minute chart. It just moves too much to where I want to change things. Go to 5-minute. I'm fine. Here we go.
Know that right now, there we go. There's the break. That was the last little pullback, and now it's breaking out.
I'm hoping for the same type of movement on the Kiwi or Euro Kiwi.
And so right now, where we had the pullback was up to the 50% line, and now here's our. Let's see, where is the 50%? If I can span this out here a little bit. Here's the 50% line on the overshoot area, which is going to be pulled back into basically turned out into the 50. So I'm going to put a little zone between the 50 and 38. Here's the 38 right here, and the 50 is right below it. This would be the target zone for the downside if you're looking for this as to the extension of this move. And you're still into this blue shaded over. This is a lower 25 at the higher time frame. So we still have the momentum to the downside. So you can still, this target is still good. S&P.
Guys, we got Christine in the room.
Fantastic.
Let me see if I can move her over. There she is.
Hey, welcome, stranger.
Merry New Year.
So we have a couple of new people in the room today. Welcome, Kevin. And let's see, I'm going to go over to the Canadian yen on my trading view chart. Let me see if I can change screens here a little bit. Down. CAD yen here. Let's put this on over here.
CAD's still weak.
CAD is still weak. Now here's our Hercules right down here. You can see that now the CAD is the orange line. This is basically the Hercules. Now this is on, we have it on TradeView where I'm looking at just the two symbols, and you can see where I have the 7 and 0 spread on the 5-minute chart, still to the downside. Now these are the zones that Brian was talking about. We have, as I go into the 15-minute chart, I've got 15, a 5, and a 1. This is basically the same thing that we look at with the MT4, but what I do, we have these zones, and these are 15-minute chart. Here's the blue one. Here's the
green one. Yeah.
Red. Here's the green. Here's another blue. And right now you can see that's right in between this red and the green, and bouncing right off this little green level right here. So I'm going to mark these.
This is the one that I was telling you about, bouncing off the green.
You're going to be seeing us doing more and more of this as time goes on here. There are some changes coming in the wind, and we're going to be making some adjustments to those changes. So just so you know, if you see some things different, we're just gradually getting you guys used to the where things are going to be going, but we're not doing it all at once for you. We don't want to overwhelm anybody. But here's the blue 15-minute. Here's the green, and it goes from blue, green, red, and then back to blue again. And these are key. The blue levels are rather key levels. Now I've got this on a 15-minute chart, and you're going to see that these levels are
it's insane.
Be broken down into thirds on the 5-minute, and it'll be broken down to thirds on the. Let's see, we need a red one here. Red 15. I like using the 15 zones for our basic ranges. If you look at if you measure these zones out, like on the Canadian yen, that's maybe a little bit different. But a lot of times you can see it's going to be like about 62. Now, these are a little bit closer because of the yen pair. These are 21 pips apart in between. So this is where a lot of times we get those 7 pips and 21 pip movements that we talk about. Here's our blue one. Blue. Oh, come on.
Nice move down. We can just close it. We got 1 minute to close that candle below that.
But 15, this is the blue, 15-minute blue. Here we go. So you see now I propagated these all. One nice thing about TradingView is that whatever you draw on one chart, you can propagate over to the other charts. So now I've got my 15-minute zones here. Now on my, I'm going to put my Fibonacci lines here, and you can see that's going to divide these up into thirds when I put these on. So now I have again, I have a blue, a red, a green, and another. This is wherever you see the 15-minute line, it's going to be a blue one on the lower time frames. So right now we're looking at it where it's trading in between. It's right at the bottom between this zone and here, and right in the middle of this whole thing. The next target would be this red line right here, which at this point is going to be at 89.39. That's about 21 pips. Let's see, 39 to 47. That's 7 pips. There's our 7 pips on that one. So my overshoot on this, if I can draw this out. Here's the range. Here's my Fibonacci's. And here's my 25% overshoot is this yellow line. This is the next third. This is going to be the overshoot area right in here. I'm guessing this thing may just blow right through that.
Yeah, I think those do.
But this is the overshoot area. Oops, I didn't unlock that.
We did have a close below that green fib, so once demand becomes supply, so I would expect it to bounce up. If I was still feeling strong on the momentum, 89.52 would be where I enter at. Nice drop base, possible drop.
And this is the overshoot. Let's see if we can change the colors on that a little bit here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to be a little bit more patient with the Euro Kiwi because even though momentum's showing in our favor, it's a slow grow. Not sure I like that pair anyway.
I say when you trade the yen pairs, the values are a little bit different because of the yen being 100 to 1 to $1 basically, and so it kind of skews it a little bit. But like I said, right now we're in this overshoot area. You can see it's penetrating right on into it. It does, and you look at this is our RCS tool. This is our Hercules. You can see that the yen is this bluish color. The Canadian dollar is the orange color, and you see we still have the spread. So there's no real reason to get out of this trade at this point. It still has the downside, but we could maybe expect a bounce in this little zone around this little area here. Comes back up, maybe retest that, in which case then you can go and you can take this thing down to the next level like this. And this makes things really easy and really simple to, you still find the same levels, but you're not only breaking down into quarters, you're also breaking down into thirds. And you can see where the thirds and the quarters sort of start overlapping. You can see where those are some pretty powerful areas. This thing popped down. This is the overshoot. This is right now, this is the bottom 25% of the down move. We still have the strength to the yen is still strong. Now it's losing this power, losing it a little bit over here. You can start to switch over. And right, this is a pullback. It's also pulling back right in this overshoot zone. So the buyers are starting to come into this area, and we may actually start getting a little bit of a reversal on this. It has been going down all night long, ever since about 3 o'clock this morning. It's been heading on down. We had a nice little drop, a little base, a drop, retest of this base. Here's a little retest area. I think I have one that says retest. There's a retest. So this is where I could see it possibly coming up into this little area where we had this little wick over wick. You see it came back down, pulled back down, came up right into here's a little wick right here, came back down. Now it could very well from this area come up here and retest this zone. But by this time, we've already been in and out of this trade already. We already hit the target on this one, so we can move on to the next one actually. Now we look and see where the fibs are on the, let's see, let me go to, let's see where we are here on this. Don't pay any attention to those S&P trades. Those are experiments. Those are some testing going on in that. Let's see where we have the, we could look at the British CAD. That British CAD may have something to give us here. That's this one right in here. Go to our higher time frame, see what we can find. Here's a nice red zone coming on up. You can see straight moving up. This is our range that we have. This is the overnight range. Here was yesterday's low. Here's yesterday's high. It's breaking the high, so we have to come over here and take a look and see where we're in the upper 25% of this range. And so I'm going to take the Fibonacci from here, from this little pivot here, down to here. Here's our upper 25% zone. I'm going to change these to, let's see, here's this 38. Here's our 50. Here's our 61. Here's the upper 25. Now there is some pressure to the British pound is strong to the Canadian dollar, so we are expecting this zone may not hold. But I would expect a little bit, if we can get a bounce off of that area, we do have a little level up here. We can see if this breaks through this red zone, we have another target up in here. But right now it's retesting this upper section. And this is where the high of this area is. Here's a little pivot high. This is the area that left the zone, came back up, retested it again. Now it's penetrating up a little bit higher. Now it's really retesting this high right up in here. So I'm going to mark that because that's a significant level. I don't want to take this thing long while it's coming up into this red zone, but if I get a nice pullback, a pullback enough to be able to possibly get into it with my target, then we may have a trade. But I don't want to be trying to predict that it's going to break through here, especially when it's right up at the high from the last. This is probably from back last Friday's high. So with this, I'm going to draw my zone. There's actually already broke through the upper 20. I'm just going to use this thing here, this one right up in here. I'm going to take the fact that it already broke through. I'm going to move this moving average over here a little bit higher. This is really where the next area's got to break through. So we have that, and there's my 0 line, and I'm going to move this up to this is my 25% zone. Ideally, what I like to see, I want to see it come up in this area. Once it gets this pivot high, comes out of the zone, comes back in, retests it, give me a little pivot, give me a little trend line. I'm just going to make the assumption. We don't know for sure, but let's see wherever the high is. I want to see it come back out of the zone, come back up and retest it, and then we can be looking for the reversal for this target 1, target 2, target 3 down here. This is the bottom 25%. This area. But these are our targets: first target, second target, third target. These are the targets on the down move. Once it reaches this high up here, and once it starts to retrace, these will be the targets. But right now, it's still trending. It made a low, made a high, higher low. This was a little bit of a wedge right in here, but it broke through that. So now it's making a higher high. Here's a high. Here's a higher high. Here's our trend line. So we're going to mark it. It's actually somewhat in a channel right now. There's the anchor. Here's a pivot. Here's the anchor. Here's a pivot. Here's a retest. That's the third hit on the trend line, coming up making new highs. But we don't know how high is going to be. We are going to be waiting for a pullback. Once this thing pulls back, and we move these Fibonacci's on here, we have our zones marked. We have the upper 25, the middle thirds, and then the lower 25. We move the Fibonacci on this one. I'm going to redraw to the upside. So now as we go to our lower time frame, right now I'm on a 5-minute chart. You can see I'm starting to get a little bit of a pivot on here. It's got to break through this. If it breaks through this, we do have another zone up above, which we already identified. And if it breaks through that, that means it's breaking through this upper 25% zone, which means now it's going up into the overshoot area. Let me draw this on the trading view, British CAD.
And you're sitting on top of a red fib number, by the way, right now.
What's the number on that?
You would ask that. Let me slide this over so I can see. Hold on one second. 71.45.
It's 71.45. And okay, now I'm going to go and we're going to show you something here and see what the hell this 71.45, which is right here, this orange line right here is sitting right into this little zone right now. If I go over to my trading view, British CAD, let me get to the British CAD on the trading view.
Man, I like being here. I think I'm quitting my job.
British CAD right here. Here's a British CAD. Now, these are the zones that Brian was talking about. It says 71.45. 70.
That's what mine shows. 71.46, however you want to look at it.
45. Okay, yeah, right here. You can see this red number right here. It's like, this is it right there.
You know what I think we should do also, Al, with this tool? See if we can broaden the line.
Yeah, we have to talk to Anthony about that one. Yeah, because you can barely see it. It's really hard to see.
On the black back, unless you got a completely black background, yours is charcoal. Charcoal is difficult.
But here's our red line. Here's our red 15-minute line. Here's our blue line right up in here.
I love what it's doing right now. Because if it comes back to this, if it can close up there and then come back to the 71.45
I think this thing has enough room to go to the upside here. And so right now, this is basically, now here's our green line. And so you're going to be seeing us using more and more of this, just because it's just so much easier to draw it. And these zones are just as valuable, if not even more valuable than some of these. And we can do it with the pivot to pivot, but these zones are also showing where these pivot and overshoot areas are.
What we need to do on Friday, since that's our more casual day, is to show them historically where those lines end up, and they'll see why we use them.
So this is the 25. Whoops. Right here's the 25% overshoot area. Here's my red line.
Well, that would be kind of interesting to do.
Here's my overshoot, lower time frame overshoot. So you can see right now it's coming in, and here's halfway through the overshoot area. Here's my 23%. Now, if I look and show you where this line right here, I'm going to put the fib on this one, and you'll see these are the thirds in between. Here's the green line. Here's the red line. And there's my next blue line. So again, it breaks it down into thirds. So this is the upper third right now, which is right in this 25%. So this is 25%. This is basically 33% overshoot. And so right now, this is our middle zone right in here. This is where we'll probably come back to retest. Everything's still moving in the right direction. It hit this 15-minute zone, and now it's starting to give it up a little bit. I would be looking for a pullback. Look at the wicks on this on the 1 minute chart. Again, it's the same thing propagated over. Here's a nice move up. There's a little bit of a pullback. And this thing is still, you can still see, look at the strength of this. This purple line is the British pound. The orange line is the Canadian dollar. 7-point spread. We have a 7-point spread. We have the extreme 7-point spread. This thing is not turning around anytime soon. So what you can do is just you get the pullback. Here's a nice little, this was the last pullback. Came out a little basing right here. And we can draw another fib line on the pullback area. This is what we do with the MT4. And so here's the high, here's a pivot. I'm waiting for a pullback. And again, here's our 23. Here's the 23 to 50 area right in here, the pullback, which is right where my cursor is. Here's a moving average. It still has the strength. Now you can see, now this thing's starting to give it up a little bit. Here's a 7 and 4 spread on the 1 minute chart. Now that just tells me it's in a pullback mode. If this thing flips, you don't want to be taking this. If this thing flips, you don't want to be taking this until it flips back again. Because right now it's pulling back. We don't know how deep it's going to go. But if I get this, if this orange line gets above the purple line and we start getting these numbers start to flip, that means the pullback's still in effect. And you wait for it to reach a zone to have it flip back again. As long as the lower time frame is going against you, the higher time frames aren't going to help you much. All three have to be going in the right. All is saying this is a pullback. Nice little pullback. It's coming right down into the 38% zone.
But look where it turned around again.
And here's our 38. Here's a 38 to 50. This is a entry. This will be the entry area right in here. I'm going to expand this out. Whenever you see all these lines, that means it's crossing over one of these major lines here. But here's the pullback. I just see this get a little bit strong. Right now we have a 6 and a 3, not too bad. Looks like the pullback may be done, and then the next target is going to be on up here to the 23%. It pulled back to the 38, so the next target would be up here around the 38%, which is right up here in this area, right in here for a target. This is the pullback. Here's the area where it pulled back. You got a blue candle. You could probably take the trade right in here.
I'm in it now already.
And now your target's up in here. It's hard for me to draw this one without the one advantage about being on the MT4 platform, I can draw it and basically all the same. I like drawing off of this, and I like taking the trades, but I need another monitor to do that.
We're getting ready to fix all that up.
I did find my zone tool last night, Brian, on the for MT4.
Nice. What's the version? Do you recall?
Well, it's I think it's 1.6 or something like that. But but I need to talk to James about getting it linked to, because it's account specific.
Oh, okay.
But right now, this is the pivot height. Right now, it's got to get through that. We are in the overshoot area right now. But you can see if we look at these, let me just see if I can back this off a little bit here.
I'm in 3 trades: pound CAD, Euro Kiwi, and CAD Yen. So as long as the CAD stays weak, we're all right.
So I'm going to turn some of these tools off here. See, hide the drawing tools. Now you can see these are the 5-minute or 2-minute fib lines. Now these are, let's see what the range on these are. Here's a red line, here's the green line. These are basically 7 pips apart, which is one reason why we say 7 pips. These are 7 pips apart, and between the blue zone to the blue zone, it's going to be 21 pips. And this is where I get the 7 pip number from. If I go blue to blue, there's 21 pips in between. These are the thirds. It is overshot. Now, if we can get a nice close above this green line, it's probably going to be heading up to retest this red line. Go to my 5-minute chart. Expand it out. What I'm going to do, let me put this, put a red zone in here. This is the 2-minute zone. 2 minutes red, I believe it was. There. Am I losing anybody, Eva?
Nope, I'm here.
Well, that's all that's important.
You haven't lost me yet.
You're not the one I'm concerned about.
Oh, I'm here, Russ, are here.
You're not the one I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I'm here, Brian.
There you go.
And so here's this 2-minute zone right here. But you can see this is my target right now. I'm gonna put this this little box right here at the target level, right between the overshoot and where that 2-minute target is. I'm gonna take these off. I'm gonna lose this too when I do that. Yeah, I will. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll mark it to. I'm on a 5-minute chart. I'm just gonna mark that into a 2-minute zone. That will take care of that problem. And so here's my red target. It passed. It's up in the green. It did not close on the 5-minute. We did not get a 5-minute close above this green. If I get a 5-minute close above that, it's going to come up here and probably retest this red one. Right now, it's struggling a little bit right in here. But you can see how these zones just really. I mean, these are just like, you can see how it respects the zones. Crossed over, closed above the blue, went up to the green. Couldn't close above the green, coming back now, retesting the blue. Retest that, close above the green again. We're going for the red and then the blue area. And it just keeps on marching its way up through. Look at it down here, or it came up to the green, backed off, closed above, based, passed it, came back, checked it, came back, went up to the next one. Passed it, came back, checked it, goes up to the next one. These are all institutional levels. These are where the big money people, they're not looking at moving averages. Nothing. They're looking at different price points on the number line. This could go from green zone to green zone. It's 21 pips. I believe that's going to be 21. Here's our 21 pips. Here's the bottom. It pulls back 2/3 of it. May come back up and expand it out again. These are all programmed right into the trade, so we don't have to draw them. But what Brian and I will do is we'll take these levels on the 15-minute chart, and we just draw the other Fibonacci's, which is between the zones, you can see here's a red 15-minute, strong move up, is facing right now. Extended range candle, one little candle in base. Next candle is going to probably be right about in the third, which is going to be right up in here. This will be the next target area. It's passing it, it's checking the red line. If it checks it and comes back again, we're moving up higher.
The cool thing is that in the big time frame, your pound's still stronger, even though it appears that everything is going against you. You already know the overall momentum is still up.
Yeah. This over here is basically all 8 pairs. I just have it broken down into just the pairs that we're looking at, the British pound and the Canadian. So I'm just looking at these bottom two. I'm having this just for illustration purposes here. But here's the purple one's the pound, the green, the orange one, and I just have these color codes, so I just know which ones are which. But the orange one is going to be the Canadian dollar. The purple one's going to be the British pound. We're on that pair. And now I'm just looking at just those two. You can see that these are starting to consolidate a little bit on this pullback. See how this flipped. We have the orange one flipped over. Right now it's in a pullback mode. Once these flip back again where the British pound is back on top, then we know the pullback may be over, because if these stay strong, the pullback may be over, and then you can go and jump in to catch at least to the pivot area where it started. Let's take a look at this on the MT4 for the reference, British pound, Canadian dollar. Let me see here. Pound CAD, here we go. Here's the pullback. 1 minute chart. So here's the first strong move up, pull back, came back. We have a little bit higher high. It could not close. Here's the close. Well, it did close a little bit higher. Here's the top of this wick. It could not close above the top of that wick. It did make a higher close, but not high enough to close above this. So here's our pullback. We have a crossover moving averages, pulling back down, looking like it may want to be retesting this level right in here. Here's our move up. Actually, let me get the other moving averages off of here.
This looks like a patience day.
Your favorite thing to do, right?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
As you jump into trades.
Well, I'm patient in a trade. Yeah.
Yes,
I don't mind waiting.
You have the patience of Job in a trade.
As long as I'm in, yeah.
So here's our pullback. Right now, it pulled back from this pivot low to this high. It pulled back to our 61%, so we can maybe take this trade here. We do have the strength to the British pound over the CAD. British pound's the first currency of the pair. And let's see here.
I added to the position.
In the pullback, again, we look at the pullback being between the 23 and 50. It hit the 61%. We'll see what happens with this little area right in here. We're getting the crossover. I'll buy on this one. Put my target, modify it. 15 pip stop, 7 pip target. Boom, boom. And my target should be up in 7 pip target. Where is it? Here's my stop down here. My target's right here at this orange line. Which is right where that red fib line was, I believe.
Fib line was 71.45. If that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Patience and waiting in profit. That's the key.
Right now, nothing has changed as far as the strength of the British pound versus the Canadian dollar. So as long as it stays in that sequence, we should be okay. The only thing that has to be concerned is that we had this strong move up. Here's this pivot. So here's our first left shoulder of the M. Here's the middle of the M. Here's the right shoulder of the M. And it did break through that, but also has to come up and we're still looking for it to come up and retest before it's going to go short. This thing could be the first of the series to the downside to come back up and retest this. We did have a little trend line here. Here's a trend, here's the anchor, here's a hit, here's a hit. And we did have the break of this trend line. We still have the strength to our sides. Again, this is just, I'm looking at this as just being a pullback right now. Oftentimes you may get 3 waves coming down that comes back up. It'll come back up. It'll take this one back out to retest this high. This is the range that it's looking at to come back to retest. So we may not get our full 7 pips out of this unless it breaks through this top zone here. Anybody have any questions?
Well, they all seem to understand.
Quiet on the home front.
We're showing the same thing in a couple different areas, depending on what kind of platform you want to use. And we have some people that use TradingView, some people that use only MT4. TradingView just gives me a little bit more flexibility about what I'm looking at. Here's a nice little pullback. Then we have this little bounce right here. Now, theoretically, I can move my stop below this bottom trend line, because if it doesn't come up here and get my profit out of here, it's probably, and it breaks this trend line, I'll be out of this trade. If it breaks it, comes back down up and retest it, this thing will be going lower. But right now, it still has enough pressure with the British pound being stronger to the CAD on 4 different time frames. I don't see this thing breaking down anytime soon. This is just a pullback. I'm back to even on the trade pretty much, and still waiting to get my little target right up in here. This was the pass of this trend line. If it comes back up and retests this, I'll be out of the trade, and then this thing may start to reverse.
That's 71, what, 52 how you showing? 50.
71.51 is right where this orange line is right here.
71.51.
And my target is right at this trend line, right at that line.
Yeah.
And I may punch out of this one a little bit earlier, because unless we can get a close above the bodies of these candles, which is where my target is, I may not get the spread to take me out.
Yeah, on the 15-minute chart, that's a 15-minute candle was a doji, which is just meaning that price just stalled. So we definitely need a higher close. But again, the moving averages are trying to catch up, and Forex likes to go back to the mean. It doesn't like to get too far away from the average.
All right, now from this little trend from here, here's the lower 25. Now this is our trading Fibonacci. This is the lower time frame here. But here's our lower 25. Here's our upper 25. And then these are the middle thirds of this. These would be the downward target areas, but you can see where this thing pulled back right to the 61. It like stopped right at the 61, crossed over our arrow moving average, but it couldn't hold it. And right now it's still I can probably go ahead and move this stop. I don't generally move my stops, but I have the potential to be able to move the stops, say maybe up to this area. I would move it right in between this 61 to 50, because that way, if it does get up higher, we'll still be good. If not, I'll only be risking, at this point right now, my risk on this trade is only going to be about 6 pips. It's having a little bit of trouble getting through this upper 25. In fact, it's right here at the halfway mark of this, from this 25% zone. Here's the top, here's the bottom of it. It came right up to the middle of it. That's actually 11.8% retracement. You see right now it's back into this trend, this bottom trend line that came back up. Here's the hit, came back up. As long as this bottom trend line holds, we're still good.
Can you show me your power grid again?
The power, the
yeah, your
RCS?
Hercules. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I need to see. So
here's the British pound, Canadian dollar, all still. Now it did give up a little bit here on the 30-minute, but the Canadian dollar is still weak on all 4 time frames.
I was checking Euro Kiwi as well. It's just been a long trade.
Yeah, the Kiwi is starting to give up some of its strength here. These are the 2 main time frames I'm looking at for direction. This one I'm looking back for pullbacks. Right now, the pound is still strong on these main time frames, so it still has a direction to the upside.
So your bottom ones are your strength,
30-minute.
your top ones are your pullbacks?
Well, this one is my higher time frame. This is the 1 hour, which I don't really put a lot of weight on that one. I do put the weight on the 30 and the 15, as long as they're strong. And then this being the 5-minute, if this starts to flip, I'm looking at that as the pullback, as long as these stay strong. Now, if these start giving up, then the pullback may go a little bit deeper and may start reversing. But if these are still have my 3 or 4 point spread on these 2 time frames, and this one flips, I'll wait for it to flip, be traced back, and then flip again, so it goes in the same direction, and then you get into the trade. There was it would show the end of the pullback. Right now we're in this trade, we're still good. We have a red zone right here, which is what's developed off of this little move back down. But I'm just coming into my profit area right now. And I said, if it comes up there and bounces and can't break through because of the spread, now we have a spread. Here's our white line. Here's a red line. So right now we have about 1.6 pip spread on this, which is still, it's a good spread. It's a decent spread to have, but we still have to get it to punch up through and close it out. Right now I'm still profitable. And sometimes you're in these upper zones like this, you have to really struggle. It's got to break through pretty much in order to get your spread filled.
You're going to have to show me how to set up your RCS tool to have just those tools on it, because I can't seem to do that on my trading view.
Oh, okay. I can. That's it. For those of you who have trading view, I can do it right now, actually. If you, let me see here, pull my, what are we looking at here? British pound or British Canadian CAD.
So how are you able to get that up without any charts?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Basically, if I double click, basically I just scrunch all the charts on up to the top.
Oh, there are charts there. Okay.
And if I left click twice, that just gives me just the indicators.
Okay. I'm thinking you did something magical.
No, I am magical, but and actually, if you go to your RCS tool,
oh, it's swelling,
and go to this little settings, you can see here where it says auto. Auto is going to be, you're going to get them all. If you go to symbols only, you'll just get just the symbols of whatever chart you're on. And I always use a 14 period length. If there's anything other than 14, I just use 14. Sometimes it defaults to 200, depending on what version you have. But I use a 14 period on this one. Let's go back to our trade here. Looks like the trade closed out profitable. It's trade number 2 for the day, or 3, or how many we had today.
I've got 3 total.
We did get the German 30, which I took the trade, although I didn't. It was a trading error on my part. It was profitable. It was a good trade. This one was a good trade, and then we had this CAD yen worked out. I did take an early stop out on that just because I was trying to preserve my profits. It came back out, took my stop, and then went into the direction I was originally planning, which is one reason why I oftentimes do not move my stop. I just either wait for it to confirm that it's going in the wrong direction, then just take the hit. If you move it, if you're profitable, you move it back. If it's too tight, oftentimes you're going to just get back all your profit to break even, and then watch it go in your direction you had already planned. This one's still moving up. I suspect with the strength of the British pound, I suspect this red zone is not going to hold, and it's going to go up to the next level. And if you look and see where the next level is going to be, let's see. Let's go to a 4-hour chart.
Did you change the color of your pound? Because your pounds is nice and pink.
No, I just keep it pink or
mine's
purple.
Not. Mine's
purple.
white.
Well, you're colorblind. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It must be that
Well, there we
Texas
go.
thing. And wherever we go, there we are.
Good.
Let's see. Right now on this British CAD, I had to go to let's see where are we at here. I got to find out where the next zone above it is. And you can see here's another zone. This is the zone where, let me redo this whole thing here so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's arrow, there we go. Here's the zone. And here's the next. If it breaks through this is going to be the next target. If you look over here to the left of the chart, you'll see where that was generated. And so here, this was the pivot high. This is where the last left that one, came back down, formed this one. Now it's breaking through this. The next stop is going to be this area right in here. So we can go ahead and we can insert a shape on this, right around this little area right in here. And that's going to be our next target area. And you probably will see that propagate, but I say we can do this on TradingView as well, and you can see that if this level right here, let's see what the level of this is. This is at 71.93. 71.93 is right. Well, here's 71.87, which is a blue line. You can't make this stuff up.
Mm-mm.
Here's 72 on this one on the 15-minute. So here again, looking at this, here's our zones. Here's our 15-minute zones right from here to here. It passed it, checked it, came back out, checked again. Here's a little doji right now. We're looking at this next upper level. So I'm going to draw the Fibonacci right between the blue to the, whoops, let me just erase all this. I draw my Fibonacci now from blue to red. Here's our overshoot area, but now once it breaks through, if we can look and see here, look on our 1-minute chart. On 1 minute, I'm using 2-minute zones on the 1 minute. These are 7 pips apart. Here's my 7-pip overshoot. Came back down. Right now, once it breaks through here, it's coming up to here, then up to here, and then on up. We have the strength. Right now, we have the Canadian dollar is a little bit stronger than the British pound, so this is a pullback. If I look on and see where it is on the other charts, I still have a 4-point spread here on the 5s. I still have a 7-point spread on the 15-minute chart. Again, this is just a pullback. It's coming back to retest this blue level. Once it breaks through, you're looking at this, there's our target. Here's the lower 25% of the next zone. If you can look at from this, if you draw it from where it came from, this area right down here, from this green to the red, right there is this is our overshoot area, the 23% overshoot. It's still inside that range. We can see where this is the first third of that right in here. If it breaks that, it's coming on up here. There's your 7 pips, you're in and out, you hit the target. Right now we're just in a pullback. We don't know how far it's going to pull back. You see, we did not get the close above this green fib line. There's Canadian. Okay, so right now, this would be the next target right here. It's starting to pull back. It's consolidated right above this first 7 pips. Target probably is going to be up in here, right around the 7166 area. We get a close above this. You can come back in and British CAD, 1 minute chart, spread it out. Again, once we get a break above this zone, we have the strength. Do another buy. Nice. Here's a breakout. 7 pips. Oops, wrong one. Oh, no, there we go.
Good trade.
Buy. Here we go. We have 15 pips, 7 pip target. Boom, boom. There's our target. We'll see if it breaks up into the target. We know that the ultimate target was at 71.93.
I got 13 pips on this one. That was good.
This is my second trade on this one.
You're already out, Brian?
Yeah, I got out. It hit my target. It hit my target before I looked at what we all were doing.
Oh, that's even better, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that Euro Kiwi because everything's showing to go my direction, but it is really turning hard the other way.
You see that zone the zone that we had here is gone now. You should be looking at a red one up here somewhere. This is the zone that we drew. This one right up in this area. This is where we said if it broke through this level, it was going to come on up to this. This is right here at the 71, right at 71.81 right here. Again, I'm only going for 7 pips. I'm going for a higher lot size, just going for my 7 pips. And by the time this thing's done, I'll be done for trading for the day. Each one of these trades was basically a 2%. I had a 2% risk, 1% target. 2 trades, that's 2% a day. That's 10% a week.
And that's more than enough.
We say get your daily bread. All right, so right now I'm up $18 on this one. I was up $18 just a second ago. And so if it gets up there and pushes up and can't take it out, then I'm just going to take it off myself. There it goes. Just target hit.
Done.
Done.
Good trades.
And it's, I believe it's after 9 o'clock. Any questions? Anybody have any questions, comments?
Daniela says, thank you so much for today.
Yeah, today was a good, we had some good trades. We had some good trades today. And like I said, we're going to be doing a little bit more and more going back and forth between TradingView and this, just for the folks of you, for you folks that have TradingView. And just keep in mind that TradingView, you can get a free version of it, and we can get to these in the different indicators that we have. We're making them available. I'm not sure how long they're going to be free, but right now they're available from a free version, so you can get to using them. Like I said, with the free version of TradingView, it doesn't cost anything. It does limit you to how many charts you can put up at a time. It does limit it to how many indicators you can use, but we have some workarounds with some of that. So with that, we appreciate every one of you being here. Thank you so much for it. And we'll be here again. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow I will not be here tomorrow. Brian and Eve are gonna have to run the room tomorrow. I've got a
come for the circus. It should be fun.
Yeah, I'll get him in here, but Brian and
Not the deal. We'll be here all week.
Invite your friends, yeah.
And we'll be back here all week. So again, thanks everybody for coming, and we will see you tomorrow.
Danielle,
Brian, I'm scared.
Yeah. I'm not too. It'll be fun. See you guys tomorrow.
Have a great day.
Take care. God bless everybody.